Welcome to the Webby and O'Neill channel. With me today is Steve from the 1958. Steve, welcome. Much appreciated that you're on the channel. First of all, can you explain who you are and what your aims are with this fans group?
Yeah, well, the 1958 started as a result of the Liverpool game that got postponed, the infamous European Super League game.
Yeah.
Obviously, fans were very angry at that across the Premier League, not just at Old Trafford. There was demonstrations all over. We recognised that, you know, the fans at the ground don't have a voice. And hence we came up and decided that we wanted to pick the baton up and protest against the owners and continue to do so.
You say protest against the owners. Protest in what way? What was your aims when you started the protests, especially the street protests? You know, the Glazers have been here since 2005. We've had lots of noise from different fan groups and that. What is it you brought to the table different than what's already gone on?
I think at the end of the day, Tony, a protest is a protest. There's only so much you can do, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, so for us, it was about getting fans together. You know, at the time, we'd no idea how well it'd be supported. You know what I mean? It hadn't happened for a while. The first protest we did, I believe, was against Norwich, and we left from the toll gate and marched to the ground, and there was about, I think, 3,000-4,000 people joined us. So we was pleasantly surprised with that as a new group.
Everyone loves a protest, especially football fans, Steve.
Yeah. And everybody also hates the Glazers.
That's right. Everyone hates the Glazers. Now, the thing is, protesting against the Glazers, everyone wants them out. Are we going to get them out? Is there a plan? Is there something new that you can bring to the table? Or is it just a matter of like people sticking together and making sure their voices are heard?
Well, I mean, we took a conscious decision when Radcliffe bought his partial share of the football club. There was then a freeze on who could do what for 18 months, as in shares couldn't be traded for 18 months. So at that point, back in, I think it was February last year, there was absolutely, you know, little point into continuing to protest and see where the land lies and see how it moves forward.
Well, one of the statements I've read, what you gave out was, you say you've been given an unprecedented mandate to represent our fan base. What is it you mean by that, the fan base, a mandate?
We're a voice. We're a voice for everybody, a collective voice for everybody else to get involved with. And, you know, not every fan is in agreement. You know, different fans from different areas, as in your overseas fans who don't come to games, might not see the importance as much as a match-going fan with what's going on. You know, they don't see Old Trafford decaying slowly. You know, they don't see the ticket price rises, etc. So, you know, I think having that voice, and as it happened, it did pick up to our online fan base as well, because we had a lot of online protests aimed at sponsorships and targeting sponsors of the football club that went down an absolute storm. So we kind of got, you know, we got both sides on board. I would say match-going fans more than online fans.
Fans just want the Glazers out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. That's how lots of other United fans see it. You seem, with your answers there and what you're saying, to be going and saying the same old, what other fan groups have been saying for 25 years, 20 years, about getting the Glazers out, protesting against sponsors and everything else like that. Is there anything new, what you're doing, what you can tell everybody here? Because I'm not being like having a go at you. I just don't hear anything else. United fans aren't hearing anything else. I speak to United fans. They're telling me nothing's new. Can you tell me I'm wrong? That United fans are wrong? Is anything going to change with what you're saying?
And I think it's something you wanted to touch on anyway, got involved with the FSA. And as a result of that, we are in we've built up quite good relationships.
The FSA, sorry to interrupt, so people out there know, the FSA represents the Football Supporters Association. Is
That's
that correct?
Yeah. So the Football Supporters Association, we was actually contacted. So just stepping back a little bit from that, sorry, when we took a step back when Sir Jim came in, we were still getting a lot of contact from football fans with various issues on top of just Glazer issues, if you will.
Yeah.
And we had the opportunity then, and not wanting to just turn a blind eye to it, we then formed the FC 58, which is the Fan Coalition 58.
Okay.
As a result of that, we joined the FSA. We become an official independent supporters group, and that then grew in itself. I mean, we've currently got 77,000 members that have signed up to the FC 58 or through the Claim Back United website.
Is that online or just fans with feet on the ground?
That's online. So
Okay.
that's an online membership. It's free. It's the 1958.org is the website. So we constantly mail our members with, where we're up to. We've done a few surveys as well, which is helping us because we can then gauge a more accurate reaction for what fans want, which, so that's been a vehicle that's helped us. Now, from forming FC 58, we was actually contacted by a rival football club with regards to the Stop Exploiting Loyalty campaign, which is an FSA-led campaign, nationwide campaign. We was asked if we would get involved. It was actually Man City. They got in touch with us. And we was asked if we'd get involved because as far as they were concerned, and this was just Nick from the Man City Food Bank, but as far as he was concerned and other members of the FSA, that Man United weren't really representing this protest. And, it's a protest against rising ticket prices and I guess fan culture trying to be diluted from football in general.
We're the biggest fan base around the world. Why do we need anybody else? Why are we helping other fan groups? This is Manchester United. Lots of United fans will turn around and say, everyone hates Man United. Are we being used by other associations, other groups to join them because we're the big name as a fan group? We demonstrate. Fans have demonstrated for a long time now. We're very vocal. Lots of fans are vocal. Are people looking to jump on the bandwagon by inviting groups like yourself to join them, which makes them have more kudos?
I mean, the groups that I've met, everybody has been very sort of complimentary, if you will, for the work we've done over the last 3 years, as in protesting against the Glazers. Yes, they're still here, so
Yeah.
how effective of what we've done so far, you can question that. But for me, it's better to die trying than do nothing at all. So these groups, the club have been contacted, other sides of the club that are part of the FSA, and it's all fallen on deaf ears. So when we was contacted and asked if we'd protest in solidarity with Everton, that then coincided with Jim Radcliffe deciding to hike the ticket prices up to 66 quid.
Yeah, well, I look at this. You joined another group gets involved with you. But the simple thing here, as I see it, and as many, many United fans, they don't want to be involved. They don't want to be involved with other fan groups and all that. This is a quote from you about the Glazers. The simple answer is to remove the Glazers and the debt. The question is, how? Is that unachievable from a fan base point of view? Yes, it's a simple answer. Remove the Glazers, remove the debt, all problems go away, someone else comes in. But the point I'm trying to make, and many United fans have been making this point since the Glazers got here, How do you do it? Or is it impossible? I'm looking for the answer. Is it impossible? Or can United fans do it? Or do we just have to suck up to what's going on? It's a genuine question, right, where people have been asking for 20 years.
I think the simplest answer to that is if we had that answer, as in how to get without the Glazers, they wouldn't be here, would they? So the answer is we haven't got that magic formula.
It's not a criticism.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine, Paul. But, we don't have that magic formula. But again, going back to it's better to die trying than to do nothing at all. I think the one thing that the Glazers have got on side is the massive division that's within this fan base. We have got the biggest fan base there is, but it's also probably the most divisive there is.
Well, you just
probably queued you up good and proper then, haven't I?
Yeah, you have queued me up because the next question is, you want to unite fans. All United fans. But before you do that, shouldn't you try and unite all the fans groups first? Isn't that the most sensible approach before trying to get the fans on board, okay, by uniting, when you know as well as I do and everyone out there, it's difficult for fans to get together because they've all got different opinions, they argue. But the fans groups have all been there, right, to get the Glazers out, been there for a while. But these fans groups, as most people see, they don't even speak to each other. So wouldn't it be more practical, more helpful to get the fan groups talking to each other? Because I don't see it, United fans don't see it. There's the divide already. Shouldn't that be the first problem solved?
So a good example of that, which kind of dispels this myth a little bit, is that myself and Duncan at Must have a very good relationship.
Personal relationship?
Yeah, we have a difference of opinions, and this is where the problem lies, is that Must prefer, and Duncan said this, it's not coming out of my mouth, but Must prefer dialogue over protest. And our view is that dialogue doesn't work, therefore we prefer protest. Now, the Everton protest, which was an FSA-led thing, a national campaign, Must supported us on that. As of when we protest again, so I would suggest that bridge has been built a little bit. And will we always see eye to eye? Probably not. We've got differences of opinions, as all fan groups have, and, that's fine. But, I suppose where the proof's in the pudding is they supported the FSA campaign. Would they support another protest against the Glazers?
So basically, they're supporting the FSA if they campaign on the streets, but they won't support you on the streets. Is that how I'm reading it?
No, it's not what I said. What I said is let's see when we next protest if Must will get involved and support it. Then we know where we are then.
Okay, well, we'd all know where we are if all the fan groups got together as one and become one entity. Mm-hmm. Now, wouldn't that be the best thing? Instead of having a dispute over this, getting together on that, and then sort of fracturing on other concerns, wouldn't that be the best? So I'll go back to it. To unite the fans, as many fans want, they want the fan groups to unite instead of being at each other's throats on certain issues. Wouldn't that be the best thing? First.
Yeah. I mean...
Can you not force that issue? Isn't that the issue you should be trying to force?
I think in fairness, Tony, I don't know how you force somebody to get on board with what you're doing, And
for the best of Manchester United.
Correct.
It's for the best of Manchester United.
I understand that.
That's what you're working at. That's what the other fan groups, supposedly, their aims are working at. The best for Man United and its supporters, okay? So the best for Man United and its supporters, which many United fans out there say, unite the fan groups, then unite the fans together and we'll be stronger as one voice. Now, clearly, that is the best way to go forward. But there's a problem because other people have different agendas on different subjects. Is that how you see it? And do you see that as the problem?
You know, we work with the TRA, for example. We've worked quite closely with them. We've tried working with various supporters clubs, but where you always hit not a brick wall, but a stumbling block, is that supporters clubs get tickets off a club, and which is why they're there. So, you know, sometimes people don't want to lose what they've got and what they've already built up by getting involved in something that could potentially threaten that.
Or, on the other side of the coin, people couldn't care less about fans groups. They just want to watch United. Because when you look at the fan culture, there was no fan groups 40, 50 years ago doing what's being done now. The fan culture was completely different. It was all about watching Manchester United. That's how many that's how United fans feel. That's how they were brought up. Okay, the club was the club. It was owned by certain people. They made the money. That's the way it is. I just want to watch United fan. Are you finding that as a stumbling block amongst the United fan base?
The Man United fan base is the amount of apathy within the fan base it's off the charts. You know, you've got the club are happy to sell, and I get this, and the club are happy to sell premium price tickets, hospitality to fans from overseas, which I don't have a problem with, because for me, there's enough room inside Old Trafford for the likes of me and you, who's been going there since we were kids. You know, the likes of me and you, Tony, and the old guard, if you will. They're the people that start and create the atmosphere inside the ground.
Yeah.
And this is what's dying within football. And it's when you speak to other clubs, as we have, it is not just happening at United. It's happening all over, where the ownership are seeing, you know, the potential. And the sad thing is, I mean, Man United's turnover, which is just shy 700 million quid-ish, give or take a few quid.
Yeah, give or take.
18% of that equates to match day revenue. It's not a massive amount of money. And, you know, this uplift in ticket prices, the 66 quid, for example, it could equate to a couple of 100,000. It's not going to pay off the debt, is it? It's not a massive turnaround in money. What I don't understand is clubs in general, and more importantly, Man United, they're threatening the fan culture on the terrace for the sake of a quick buck.
I look at one of your comments. It might be relevant to what you just said. We want to work together against the establishment. Now, you mentioned the ticket, okay? We're all against that ticket price because it was aimed at young kids now having to pay £66. But Steve, the club ignored you, ignored every fan group and just went ahead and did it. Now I look at the establishment, but the establishment and the FSA work together, okay? Because the FSA, Football Supporters Association, are funded by the Premier League.
Correct.
They're funded by the FA. So if you want to change tickets and the way it's distributed, you have to go to UEFA and you have to go to FIFA, how they distribute tickets. Now, the blame is on Manchester United at the moment for raising the prices, but the establishment sets the tone. UEFA and FIFA, they distribute tickets for the World Cup months before all over the world. So fans can mix together. UEFA do the same for the European Cup final or the Europa League final, okay? So what they're doing, they're the establishment. Premier League clubs like Manchester United are doing exactly the same, raising ticket prices. They're following the establishment. But you want to work against the establishment with the FSA and the establishment pay the FSA. I don't understand how the two match. If you're fighting against the establishment, but the establishment are actually funding you, they're not going to fund you to destroy themselves with this argument, price increases, the way tickets are distributed. It seems a little baffling to me that one's fighting against the other while the other is actually supplying the money to keep you going.
Yeah, I mean, it's
baffling. Fans out there have spoken to me about it, the FSA being funded by the Premier League and all that. You've made a comment, fight against the establishment, okay? But the establishment is funding you. Manchester United fans want to be on their own. They don't want to be in someone's pocket. They want to be out there demonstrating. They would prefer to demonstrate than be in the pocket of the establishment. We had a voice. We should be one voice only. That's how United fans see it.
okay.
Lots of questions there. Sorry to hit you with a load of them.
That's fine.
Right?
That's fine.
So you take your time.
So I think first and foremost, you've got this these United fans you talk about that want to stand up against. Let's forget the FSA.
Yeah. Okay.
We've lended our weight to that.
Yeah. No, that's
I'm
fine.
happy to back it up.
No, that's fine.
But we're not spending a massive amount of our time in that. We're supporting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as the fan base and these Manchester United fans that you say want to fight the establishment and where are all these fans, Tony? Because the last protest we did, and what people need to understand is that we can facilitate and organise a demonstration, a protest. We can do that. But once we've done that, Tony, and we've advertised it, and we've had some very successful ones. I think best numbers with about 15,000 at a Liverpool protest. Now, granted, that was off the back of 2 Premier League losses and not the greatest transfer window up at that point, which fans do get angrier at things like that. But the last protest we did, we had about 50 people turn up.
I know.
So all these fans that you say are angry and that want everybody to unite, where are they? They don't come to us.
They were there on the streets, anti-Glazer movement.
So where are they now, though, Tony?
Okay, am I right or am I wrong? The Glazer movement, the anti-street protests were there. They were there regular, and then they sort of stopped for a while. For whatever reason, your group and other groups stopped doing it. Okay, there was a reason. I don't know that reason, but the fans want to get on the street. They have always shown their willingness to come out on the street. They have shown you and shown everybody else that they're not willing to come out and support with any opposition fans, okay, about any subject, as proven by 50 people turning up to the last protest. It is all about street protests. That's what fans do. They love to shout, they love to sing, they love to get together as a fan base. Let's call it the Red Army's out again. The Red Army has always loved getting out on the streets and being vocal, but they are not interested by the turnout, which you know and I know, turnout for 50 people on the subject of ticket prices. They will moan, we all moan about ticket prices when we're sat in the pubs drinking, and then we walk out the pub, we wake up the next day and we move on. It's just another grumble. But the only way to protest and get people to protest is to get them out on the streets for the one subject. United fans have been saying it. They're not going to invest their time on other subjects when the only thing, what matters, is getting the Glazers out. That's how a lot of United fans see it. You want them to protest on subjects you've got, what you're involved in. Over time, will the numbers show that? At the moment, they don't. And that's a fair assessment, you've said it yourself, of what's going on. So really, you have to engage with the fans more and more. You have to engage with the fan groups more and more and understand what Man United fan base is. It's the Red Army. The Red Army wants to get out on the streets and scream blue murder about the Glazers, because that is how the fans see it. That's all they've got. Now, I might be wrong. United fans might be wrong. But when the numbers are on the streets for different things, that tells you something. And maybe you have to sit back and take a look at it. I'm not telling you how to suck eggs. You're going through a process, and any fan groups like yourself, to be fair with you, and people have to be fair out there, and I'm fair. When a fan group sets up, it goes through stages in life. You know better than I do, okay? You've not just been involved in one movement, okay? And what it does, it fractures, it argues with itself, and then in the end, after so long, it finds a direction, it finds an understanding, and it has a mantra of what it's going to be for and what it's going to do. You're struggling at this moment. You're not there yet. That's my opinion and lots of other fans' opinions. You've still got time to evolve, and you may have to take a step back and look at what you're actually doing. That is the opinion of a lot of United fans. Not against you, but fans who look at what's going on. Now, a lot more to digest. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I think I might have been unclear with that last comment I made about the last protest. I wasn't referring to the Everton protest. I was referring to the last protest that we actually put together, which was just prior to Radcliffe taking over. That had 50 people turn up, Tony. When we did the sitting protest...
50 people, but where was the protest from?
The protest was outside the hospitality suites at the back of the Stretford Inn.
I go back to the Red Army comment. The Red Army needs to be out on the streets. It needs to meet up together, meet up at pubs, things like that. That's what the Red Army's for. That's what the protests are best at. Meeting over there is no good for United fans. They're not going to put an effort into meeting near the hospitality stand. They want to meet together where fan groups have, where the culture is, and that's out on the streets, meeting with the friends, bringing friends along. That's how I see it. That's how a lot of United fans. So when I go back to looking at it, how you set up things and how United fans want to respond, it's something to look at going down the line.
So based on all of that now, would you say that our fan base is pretty angry? The Red Army fan base and the match-going fan base, disgruntled, angry, call it what you want.
The fan base, as most people, what I discuss with, they're angry. They've been angry for a long, long time.
I agree.
But they've been angry that nothing's been able to do to get rid of the problem, what's there. Okay, we know what's there, but we can't find a solution. No one's found a solution to get rid of it. Some of them have got apathy. Mm-hmm. Some of them want to get out there and do things what aren't quite lawful. We've seen that before, but that resulted in 47 arrests. Mm-hmm. That's something you don't want to see. So it's getting the fans out on the streets. That's what they want. They want to be vocal. I don't see United fans actually talking about going behind the Stretford End, meeting and protesting. It's not as they see it. Yes, I know that you're going to organise street protests, but that's what they want. They want it relentless. That was the message you gave United fans. So some people are disappointed with that when you first started. We're going to be relentless in the protests.
And we've arranged, in less than 3 years, we've arranged 22 protests.
I understand that.
We've done the first and only ever sit-in at Old Trafford. And again, I'm going to go back to it, Tony, is, these people you're talking about, we've worked out, on average, we get some bigger than others, but we get about 3,000 to 6,000 people will turn up for a protest.
Yeah.
Where's everybody else? Protests that start at pubs,
yeah.
As they always have done.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see, it'd be very interesting to see, is that when we do need to protest again, where these fans are then.
Some people out there might see that as a criticism to fans, but some fans don't get involved. But then you have to have the right environment, the right time, the right day sometimes. It doesn't always work. But what it is, you have to keep going. You have to keep using what you've got best, and that's the fans. If that's what you want, protests, that's what they love doing most. And any other way seems to like dilute what you're doing. Another question, I'll move on. This is what United fans I've been talking to them out there, I've seen on social media. Why are you not asking for fans groups, since you've come along, to boycott working with the club? Is that the right way to go? Boycott working with the Glazers? Because it's the Glazers what own the club. As people out there will tell you in the comments, the Glazers are the enemy. So why is anyone dealing with them when we know they don't care about us fans?
So when you talk about fan groups that are working with the club, are we talking sort of fans?
All fans groups.
Right. So I don't know. You'd have to ask them that, Tony. I mean, if we're talking about official supporters clubs.
No, not official supporters clubs. That's a different thing.
Okay.
They deal with the club so they can get tickets to watching there. They don't have a political view or anything like that. Okay?
They're entitled to a view as a fan, though.
They're entitled to a view as a fan, but as a group, they just deal with the club to purchase tickets for their members. That's their sole purpose. That's how I see it. We're on about fans groups, all fans groups. That means groups what are in there talking each month with United, listening to what they've got to say, not really much input. Fans groups like the Manchester United Supporters Trust, and there's many other fan groups, as you know what goes on in there, the Fans Forum, things like that. And yourselves, a lot of fans don't want fans dealing with the club. Are you on board with that? What's your opinion about that?
We've sat down with the club once.
Yeah.
With Colette Roche and Rick McGar. It was about an hour-long conversation. There was some interesting stuff said, but in general, it was a bit like I don't know if you attended any of the regen meetings in the International Suite regarding new stadium or the regen of Old Trafford.
You mean when the models were out there?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Only the privileged were given that access.
No, there was access for everybody local. Well, if that's a privilege, then I was part of that because I only live around the corner.
Well, that weren't promoted very well.
No, but again, there was a lot of lip service paid there. Now, as a fan group or as the 1958, you've got to explore every avenue. We spoke to the club and got nowhere. End of story.
You're surprised by that?
No. But again, you try and explore every avenue, don't you, Tony? You know, you've... I'm sure there are fans out there, and specifically for this reason, is when we set up our Fan Coalition 58 website, which is the 1958.org, there is a suggestions page on that. So when, if people have got an idea or a thought, and we get drafts of them, and, some are silly and some are not so. If people have got these fans that have got this pent-up anger, and, the only thing I would say is if they've got ideas, then come to us with them. They might not always work, Tony, but there might just be that hidden gem of an idea that we haven't got the answers to everything. If we did, the Glazers wouldn't be here, So we've opened them doors for people to get in touch and have conversations. And, I've done so many a times with various different people. You try with groups, we've done a lot of work with the TRA, but then there's only so much that they'll do, I suppose, because again, they've still got affiliation with the club. Other groups that you talk about, let's sit down. I'll sit down with anybody, Tony, and have a conversation. If we get nowhere, at least sit round the table and vent our frustration and realise that what we are doing, is we're doing what we can, the best way that we think we can. And yes, the Glazers are still here. Have protests been a disruption and a thorn in the side? I would say yes.
Yeah, I would. I'd say the same. Say as much as you want, come out with good ideas and all that, but there's only one avenue left, and that's to get back on the streets, loud and proud, okay, and then get into the ground and enjoy the game of football. And at least they've got the frustrations out on them. but there's enough people who are concerned, who want to go out there and be involved. That's the path you might have to look at going forward. I mentioned before about you talking to fan groups. This is what's needed. You want to unite people and all that. And I've got a question. I did interview this person, Mark Goldbridge. A lot of people were very surprised that I interviewed him, but I've known him for quite a while. What his views are and all that, and what his channel's all about. You know, we've all got different opinions on it. But there's a question, and he wants to know, why have you never engaged with the United stand? They have promoted every protest you have done. Now, we all have different opinions and all that about what certain channels are, but he has 2 million subscribers, United fans, around the world. Wouldn't that be a good start to go and talk to people like your Mark Goldbridge, who has got access to 2 million people?
I'm unaware of the United stand ever promoting. Goldbridge has pushed Glazers out when he's done his stints on TalkSport. I've heard that myself. But I have never seen, and don't get me wrong, this is not me saying it's never happened, but this is me saying that I am unaware that Goldbridge or the United stand have ever promoted or told the audience this protest is happening on such a date and any match-going fan should be getting down there. And I've also never seen them report on any of our protests.
I understand your personal opinion. That's fine. I've got my personal opinions. But as a group, shouldn't you be trying to unite someone with 2 million subscribers? You want to unite the fans. There's fans all over the world. FC 58, it's an online thing. Absolutely ideal for you to promote yourself on there and get fans united behind what you do. As a group, you have to decide. But there's a lot of people thinking you should be speaking to everybody. I've used Mark Goldbridge for the United stand as an example, okay? Is it time to go round to everybody? It's not about personal views. Yes, you've not heard things, okay? But I can only tell you what I've been told, that that's what they do.
Okay.
I have to go.
Yeah,
I've given the question on that basis. I do understand that some people in your group will object to Mark Goldbridge. Now you've come on here today, and I'm grateful for that, because people out there can now get an idea of two people who differ in a lot of views, but can talk for the simple reason we all got the one aim, and it's the best for Manchester United.
Absolutely. I mean, if we want to talk about why we've never spoke to Mark Goldbridge, for the reason that he's never promoted, we're a small group of lads, and we've all got families, we've all got full-time jobs, and I've been asked numerous times through different channels and, you know, via Twitter and things, if you could have anything that would help the 1958, what would it be? And most people are surprised, and when my answer is probably the most precious thing we could do with his time, because we don't have that time to be everywhere. When people have, I've been on, we've done a lot of work with Stretford Paddock, Jay at Stretford Paddock, because he's supported what we've done for the last 2 years. And if somebody supports what we do and get behind the cause, why would I not speak to him, Tony? There'd be no reason on this planet for that to happen. But, and there are other channels. I've had people via social media that have tried getting these channels to speak to each other and become this voice. And that's never come into fruition. Why? I don't know, because I wasn't involved with it. But I will speak to anybody that actively wants the Glazers out and will promote any form of protesting. And that's anyone, Tony.
Yeah, see, the conversation we're having, people out there may come in with comments and prove you wrong or prove me wrong. People might be coming on and saying, they said this on such a date, such and such a date. So when the comments do come in, right, on anything, then I'll be surprised, you'll be surprised. But the thing is, the fan base has to open up. It's the way it thinks. Instead of being negative all the time And that's the problem. It's negative and it's apathy towards people wanting to do good things, okay? Some people will get involved, some won't. And if some people throw an olive branch out, then it should be looked at. That's how I see it. We've got you here, you come and approached us. We're always saying, you're the first fans group to ever come on here. Mm-hmm. Now, I've got to be straight. We have pestered the Man United Supporters Trust for years. And they just fobbed us off. And they're only 100 yards down the road. So that, people make what they want of that, okay, of why they won't come in here. I've given you some probing questions. That's what we're supposed to do for the people out there so they can make their mind up, and also to be able to come back and give ideas for you, because that's why you're on here. You're on here to promote yourself, to get ideas and to build up your fan base to go forward and hopefully achieve your aims. Now, some people will agree, some people will disagree with where you want to go, but that is what life's all about. It's about opinions, but the good thing is, as men, we can sit down and talk, and I just hope going forward you're able to unite and speak to people who you might never, ever have thought of. Now, before we go, is there anything else do you think you've missed or you'd like to say to the people out there about anything going forward or even in the past, Steve?
No, I mean, things evolved. I know it's been made a deal of where we made when very, very early, there was a comment made about fan cams and social media, and looking back on that, not all fan cams and not all social media are bad. Now,
Was you just having a rant?
Well,
of course you do. You're a fan.
Yeah.
You're a football fan. People understand that out there. You're a football fan. You're starting out. You're angry.
Yeah.
That's why you got together.
Yeah.
It's their fault. It's their fault. Who are they? Who are they? I get that. But things move on, don't they, Steve?
100%. And like I've said, any channel, any platform, really.
That's correct. That's the point. Yeah. Any platform.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I use the term channels.
I know that.
I'm not a massive...
no, I know that.
I don't sit at home and watch YouTube a great deal. It's just not the way, it's not my thing. But what I do understand is that a hell of a lot of people do.
Yes.
And whether it's via YouTube or all these social media platforms, I understand it's a massive business with a massive audience. And, anybody that's got... I've sat on...
Sorry to interrupt. I do apologise for interrupting. It's a massive audience. Just think what the audience is going to be in 10 years' time when everyone's give up the mainstream media. Because I don't watch the mainstream media like a lot of people out there. So if you think the audience is massive now, you have to look in 10 years' time and see what that audience is. And you have to pass down this group to other people to take it on. The majority of young people nowadays are online. And that's something you will have to take on board. And when you say talking to other people and that, you're going to have to go out there because people are all watching from different sets of social media.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a mad world we live in.
It
right?
certainly is.
It's a fast world. But one thing you can always guarantee, the Red Army will come out on the streets. I can guarantee it. Now, listen, thanks for watching. Please press the like button. It helps the channel. Please subscribe. It's been a good conversation.
Yeah.
And I welcome you back. And please get your comments in. I've enjoyed this. Steve's enjoyed it. Well, I hope you have.
Yeah. It's one thing.
Try to put words in his mouth.
No, one thing I would say, Tony, is not being sort of into all this type of thing personally. If you get stuff that comes up on the comments, I'll try and keep my eye on it. But if stuff comes up, then get in touch with me again personally, and we'll address it.
Well, the thing is, it's the 1958 FC 58. Address your comments. Any ideas? Get straight to it. That's what he's here for, to try and get you involved if you want to get involved. The discussion, please comment on that. No problem at all. And you must remember, Everyone has an opinion, so please keep it civil. Steve, pleasure.
You're welcome, pal.
Thank you very much.